no time to rest on our laurels, mighty Buccaneers, after an impressive 4-0 win against Royal AM, as attentions and travel buses have to quickly turn Capewards now for a Wednesday clash. You know something, we can take encouragement in that Cape Town City has had a bad sort of last 10 games in 2024, failing to win any of them. We can take encouragement in that they failed to keep a clean sheet in all of them, except one against a certain team from Soweto, which wears a yellow kit. We can also take encouragement in that in a reverse fixture, we beat them very comfortably at Orlando Stadium, and they didn't give us any problems. We can take encouragement in that. However, on the other hand, we know that Cape Town City is a bit of a bogey team for us in normal circumstances. You know, the other thing is that these games where the sort of smaller club, which is having a bad run of games, coming up against, you know, the bigger club, which has got momentum, might just be the motivation that they need to turn things on its head. I mean, Eric Tinkler will be hard done by, you know, at some point, feeling hard done by, I beg your pardon, at some point being in the run-in to finish second, competing with us. But now it's almost as if they've completely fallen off. And I think this game might just be that motivation. We know what's always said coming up against clubs like Orlando Pirates is that the opposition, that's the motivation that they need. They don't actually need any motivation from the coach. The game itself is already enough motivation coming up against, you know, the good players that play for us. And just the exposure, the magnitude of the game and the people that will be watching it is enough for the opposition players to be encouraged to turn up in this game. And so maybe just to get into you know, my preview for this one is that I'll start off by saying that the substitution of Munapule Saleng was quite a telling one. I mean, I couldn't tell at the time whether I thought it was because we were 2-0 up at that point, the coach wanted to gain a sense of control versus Royal AM, you know, to control the game a bit more, or it was a substitution to do with the fact that thinking about Cape Town City now, whom we're going to be playing on Wednesday, Saleng is more suited for that game. Even more so now that Patrick Maswanganyi will be missing that one because of suspension for the silly yellow card which he collected, which I think was an intentional one, but maybe I'll say a bit more on that. Even more so now that Maswanganyi will be missing that one, someone like Abelo Dlamini may be playing as the offensive midfielder for us. And so Munapule Saleng will be playing definitely in that game. But I think apart from the Maswanganyi yellow card, which came much later after the Saleng substitution, the thinking might be with that substitution that obviously Cape Town Spurs, they play a 3-4-3, or you might think of it as a 3-4-2-1, or you might think of it as a sort of 3-2-4-1 formation. But the gist of it is that they play with 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, and then 2 holding midfielders, 2 number 10s, 1 forward. And, you know, sort of going back to the last game, a lot of space behind their wing-backs where people like Saleng can then get that space to run at Cupido, the left centre-back, or Mkhize, the right centre-back, their captain. Right, so a lot of space for us to run at Coutinho as well. You know, an aging back three, except maybe for Cupido, who I think is 26 years old. But Van Heerden, I think, is another one who's not the quickest. I think he's also an aging one. And so, you know, there's an opportunity there for our wide players to run at them. And I think the thinking will have been that with giving Saleng only 60 at Royal AM, thinking about a match that is coming up after 2 days. And yeah, I mean, that already kind of sets up what we can expect in this game. I think we know, all of us, that Eric Tinkler is one of those coaches. I mean, he was at Orlando Pirates at some point. We know the kind of football that he plays. It has evolved a little bit, especially around formation. I think he's fitting. I don't think that he's fitting players into his preferred formation. I think he's the kind of coach that will choose a formation based on his players. So he obviously has evolved, kind of playing the 3 now. At Pirates, he was playing 4 at the back, but he's playing 3 now. At Cape Town City with, I already mentioned, Darren Keats, their goalkeeper. They play with Mkhize, right centre back. Godinho is playing there. Van Heerden will play at left centre back, if not Cupido, who's playing there. And then Slacha plays as a defensive midfield alongside Petrus will play there, or Hudeman will play there as well. Slacha and Hudeman are, they're Diske team graduates, so they're doing well in that regard. Actually, the teams in Cape Town, all of them, they deserve a lot of credit for the amount of promotions that they give to their young players, and they give those players time in the DStv Premiership. So Slacha, and Hudeman, 21 and 18 years old respectively, play in the central midfield of Cape Town City. And then on the right, they play with Rhodes. I think Jaden Rhodes, he's the one who plays there. He's also 21 years old. And then they've got Gonzalez, the South American, at left wing back. On the other side, I think he's around like 29 years old. And then 2 number 10s, Thabo Notata, we all know about him and his creative playmaking attributes and specialties. They've got Kutumela now, who's playing for them. Very experienced offensive midfielder who's playing there. But Sifumba, another young player for them. I think he's 18, if I'm not mistaken. If not 18, it might be around 21 years old, something like that. But he's another one who, very young, very promising player who's playing for them in those offensive positions. And if they're not playing Pacienza as a striker, I hope I'm saying that right, they're playing with, obviously, Kanyiso Mayo, who I think and spoke about last year that he's someone we should be keeping an eye on as a striker, because he's one of those, red hot, no longer young player, to be fair, sort of mid-20s striker in South Africa. And we know how, strikers are a rare commodity for us, especially if they can put the ball in the back of the net. So that's why we appreciate Tshegofatso Mabasa and people like Kanyiso Mayo and Ikram Reyners at Stellenbosch. That's sort of how they set up. They play the ball out from the back. They'll play, through their lines. They'll play to the next line of midfielders, and then the number 10s will be putting things together for them, sort of going forward. And then the wide wing backs, who might drop to make it a 5, rarely so, but sometimes will drop to make it a 5, will also give them the width going forward. And then people like Notata, Kutumela, Sifumba operating in those half spaces to create chances for Mayo and another striker who may be playing there on that given day. So they play that way, high press for them. Lines will try to join, so they'll try and stay closer to each other. When the offensive line is pressing, the midfield will follow and the defense will step up as well to try and close those gaps. So again, I want to repeat that, the case of Cape Town City is a case of them, a good club, just not doing well. We know how good that team is. Sometimes these things are maybe the players have just had enough of the coach. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just trying to make a case for it's not always that they are a worser team with worser players. Sometimes, it's just a case of these players not being able to do any more for that particular coach or what have you. Sometimes it's injuries at crucial times. Sometimes it's just misfortune, referee decisions. We know all about that in our league. And so I'm not throwing caution to the wind. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I'm not throwing caution to the wind. I beg your pardon. I am approaching this one with caution, knowing that this is a team that can get a performance against us and win it. They've got that capability. And so I think, just thinking around our sort of starting 11, who we might be playing, I'm not sure what the issue is with Koki getting substituted against Royal AM, whether there was a bit of an injury there, because we obviously saw Mthethwa come on for something that might go down in the record books. When Mthethwa came on for us and Thabiso Munyane came on at right back much earlier after the Thabiso Libizo injury, is that we had another Thabiso in our centre back, alongside Mthethwa, Thabiso Munyane at right back, and then Innocent Maela at left back, forming a historic Pirates graduate back four for us. So I don't know whether the Mthethwa substitution coming on for Kogi was for that. I doubt Jose Rivero is unprofessional like that. But so which makes me wonder whether Kogi is injured for this one. But that might mean then for us the back four, it might be something that we really need to look at in this game because we might see a bit of trouble there if it changes a lot. We already know that Thabiso Lebitso will be missing. I saw some shouts on social media for Fortune Makaringe to come back and play at right back, but I don't think he will ahead of Thabiso Munyane. I think Munyane will be playing at right back. We know of his offensive quality, but there's still a bit of a question hanging around his defensive capabilities and discipline. But he's a decent player. He's a decent DStv Premiership player, to be fair. Just not the best right back in the league by any stretch. Thabiso Munyane. Sesani, I'm sure, will be playing alongside Mthethwa or Kogi. And then, I think for the fact that the defense might change too much, I think we'll see Maela at left back. And then we know that Makehleni Makaula, again, is suspended. Another huge miss. Makehleni Makaula will be missing for this one, but I've seen enough in Talent Mbata to think that he will handle, just the test in any game in the DStv Premiership. I think he's very good. In fact, earlier I was thinking that he reminds me of Sergio Busquets. Not to say that he plays exactly like him, but he's got a few of his attributes, especially with the height and the good sort of controlling the ball and that sort of thing. He obviously is a bit more offensive than Sergio Busquets, but with proper training, I think he could be a good deep-lying playmaker for us, Talent Mbata, who rarely goes forward. But I think he can play there for us, maybe alongside someone like Tim. I don't know if Tim will be fit and ready for this one. I'm not sure about that. I saw Baloni in our substitutes against Royal AM, so maybe it might be, Mbata alongside Tim or Mbata alongside Baloni, but I think the one who's guaranteed to play there for us will be Mbata, and then maybe alongside Baloni or Tim again. I think the offensive midfielder will be Kabelo Dlamini, the number 10. I think on the right we'll be playing with Munapule Saleng, and on the left, I wonder whether the head coach will want to go with Dion Hotto, especially for what I mentioned about spaces behind their wing backs. So he might want to go with Dion Hotto, but I think it would be cruel on Relebogile Mofokeng, who's been doing amazing. I think Hotto, for now, his shout for getting in is at left back, obviously, but I think with the instability in defense, maybe you don't want to upset defenses too much. I think he will stick with Maela there. So maybe Hotto starts on the bench. Again, with this one, no question who starts at number 9, Tshegofatso Mabasa, who's, up against Khanyiso Mayo. And Ikram Reynas and Peter Shalulile, I think, or Ribeiro, someone at Sundowns, Ribeiro, for that Leslie Manyatela Top Goal Scorer Award. And so I think we might see a bit of a cautious approach from Pirates. Obviously, the momentum is with us. And for the momentum alone, I think we will win this. But on any other sort of given day, I think this is a toe-to-toe kind of two. I would say not even that they have equal quality with us, but again, I keep saying this, that what I love about football is that you don't have to have equally as good players to beat a team, right? And so for that reason, I think even Cape Town City, without even sort of equal quality with us, but they are, for me, at times, and equally as good. Listen, don't get me wrong, Pirates is the better club. It's the bigger club. It's got the better players. But I think the overachievement of Cape Town Spurs, sort of combining that with the underachievement of Orlando Pirates at times in past seasons, has made us sort of compete with clubs like Cape Town City in the league. And for that reason, I think if the momentum is not with Pirates like it is right now, with recent wins and good performances from certain players going forward, this is a game that we can easily lose, especially away at Cape Town City. And I think, with the miss of Maswanganyi, who's largely influential for us, not because he likes to sort of ride that football. He likes to get on top of that football, not because of that, but also because of just the movements that he makes in between, lines, and he receives. Just I don't know if someone has the stat. If someone does, please pull it up. The amount of vertical passes received, progressive passes received by Maswanganyi, I think is quite telling. To the eye, you see it. He's always receiving progressive passes in between lines of oppositions, and that gets us going forward and creating things, and how sometimes he'll drop and receive there. And he's someone who will attract oppositions towards him, freeing up spaces and men for us in different places. And I think for that reason, he's very influential, and just his presence as well, someone who will ask for the ball and keep it for us. Will be a huge miss, but Kabelo Dlamini is someone who's been on form lately as well. He's been on decent form, so I back him to do well for us as a number 10. Saleng, always a goal-scoring threat for us, especially against a team like Cape Town City, who will want to play out from the back and will step up. I think then we've got opportunities to create chances and take them. Mufokeng will be coming up against an experienced Mkhize right centre back. Another good test for Mufokeng, but he's another one, red hot form for the young man. And again, Tshegofatso Mabasa, another one with momentum, didn't score in the last game, but got an assist for Mufokeng's goal. So good for the team to, we're still doing well. And with the momentum that we come with from the previous game, I think we've got enough, even without Maketleni Makaula and Patrick Maswanganyi, to win in this one. So I don't want to sit here for too long. I just like the fixture list, I want to get over with this one and get on to the next one, because it's that time of the season. It's the business end. We need results now. I think we've got enough to go and get it against Cape Town City, especially with the form that they're playing, the form that they are in right now. I think we can, if we ride our momentum, if we're very cautious but also daring at the right times, we've got enough to go and get a 2-0 or maybe a 2-1 at Cape Town City. Let me leave it here. Until the next time, up the mighty Bucks. Cheers. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video from Talking Buccaneers. If you did, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all our future content.